Hey, Captain Crunch, aka The Fits. I was just thinking, I know folks nowadays they do their resumes and stuff. Well, people have been doing them, letter form and stuff like that, and sending them in or taking them in digitally or email or this that. But I think one of the newer ways they doing it now is videos. Make a quick short video explaining their past, history, work experience, that kind of thing. So I think that's probably what I'm gonna do with this one. I think my first work experience, about 2 or 3 years old, I learned how to mix cement. My granddad, he was a carpenter, so it's sort of like a family business. Maybe so it sounds like this. It was kind of like a family business. So I learned a little bit here and there, but I learned to mix cement. I was like 2 or 3 years old, mixing cement. It wasn't a regular thing, but I that's when I actually learned and did it the first time. A few times, after that growing up over the years, but I was like 2 or 3 years old, my first work experience. Then I was, I think, about probably about 5, 6 years old. My first massage, my youngest aunt on the Lewis side gave her a massage. It wasn't a full body massage, but it was more or less, they call it the podman. You hack the legs and, squeeze the legs and stuff like that, thighs, calves, stuff like that. She must have had a rough day at PE or something like that because she was, I think, still in high school. See, after that, I spent some summers and stuff like that at the old man's office answering phones and, booking appointments, that kind of thing. Maybe a little bit of filing. And that was kind of like when I had a regular job. It wasn't a job, it was more or less just hang out at the office and answer phones, more or less. The place was fully stocked with who was doing what anyway. Trying to stay out of the way, that kind of thing. Talking to the pretty girls and stuff who used to be there. And sports started, so summer jobs kind of at that point sort of went out of the window as far as a regular, summer thing. Started actually going to sports training, stuff like that, golf and tennis and stuff in the summertime. But up in between then, we used to have a little odd occasion. Somebody was building something somewhere, a house or something, so occasionally got to go out around grandpa and do a little bit of hammering and nailing here and there, toting this and that, mixing some more cement. Then we had, I graduated high school, the first high school. So I was like 16, went away, came home, and got my first summer job that summer, I think, working at Cable Beach Golf Course. So that was like 3 years straight back to back I did that. What I did then, we used to work like the bag room. Sometimes, you help people carry bags to the room or get their bags from the room and stuff like that, clean some clubs, that kind of stuff. Didn't really get into a whole lot of shoe polish and that kind of thing, but the main thing was really working the driving range. My coach, one of my coaches who I used to go to in the summertime, I guess they realized I was going to go into, wanted to go into, golf, or they saw I could go into pro golf, so they arranged for me to get a job at the driving range so I could keep, the driving range stocked with golf balls, right out there on the cart and pick them up. If the cart wasn't working, go out there with a little picker and, just pick them up. So I could have access to, easy practice to work on my game and stuff. So that was like a 3-year thing. Then after I passed junior status, that's the last year you're allowed to play actual junior golf. That was like what? 16, 17, 18. I think I might have worked there maybe. Let me see, I got the HVA 92. 92? 21 was our last year, I think, for actual junior golf or something like that. Anyway, it was like 92 to 95. I worked at the driving range. Then I went back to the old man's office again. Summertime, answering the phones, filing, running errands and stuff like that. I did a little bit of like a week's worth of errands in and like what do you call it? Serving. My aunt, she was either just finishing law school or was about to finish law school. So she had started, working under somebody. So I came in only for like a week, just, delivering summonses, that kind of thing for, their office. And after that, let me see, worked at the old man's office again. Then after I switched from my dentistry program, I decided I was going to do physiotherapy or physical therapy. So I guess they sent me to my uncle's office one summer, and I worked with him. He's the guy here that does he's what is called an orthopedic prosthetician or something like that. So he makes like the false arms and legs and stuff like that. Sells wheelchairs, canes and stuff like that, hospital beds, all that kind of stuff. Prosthetic shoes or orthopedic, and just all the orthopedic, I guess, all around. So I work with him because it's closer to, dealing with like physiotherapy and rehab, that kind of thing. I work with him for one summer. While in school, that's when I got my social security number. Second high school I went to. So yeah, I graduated here and then went over there again and did another 2 years because I graduated at 16 when I was here, which is, I guess, kind of young if your parents trying to send you off to school to be on your own for the first time, technically. So grades wasn't all that when I left here anyway, so pulled my grades up a little bit. Not that I was doing bad, but for what I wanted to get into, my grades was pretty much solid. But there's some drag, so grades wasn't all that. So I went and did another 2 years, 11 and 12 in the States. And I had a job that didn't even last for I don't think it lasted maybe more than a month. Call it, I think, like hall monitor or something like that. Typically just like another front desk type of job, people coming out of the dorm and stuff like that, coming to visit people. So you page them, or somebody got a phone call, and you page them to come in, get their phone or their mail or whatever else, food order, that kind of thing. Just so happened, the time they allocated for me to work that job was during rec time. Now that don't mean destroyed, but in the States time, I guess what they call rec is like short for recreation, which means like after school, it's done and all that, before dinner. Is it before dinner? After dinner. Depending on how early your dinner was. It was like a playtime. You get to play, like, go to the gym and play basketball. That was the usual thing, play basketball. When it was warm, sometimes you could go outside and, run around, play a little football or throw the ball around or whatever. They booked that time for me to work. So that's why that job didn't last very long, because I needed my playtime. So that was like 92 or 93, something like that. This is like around, just before the summer job. So I did that for like a month, came back. After doing some college, all the summer jobs and stuff like that at the golf course, and, I'd been done. Had played golf for a while. Stuff happened, so I wasn't around golf for quite a bit. So went off to school the last time. And not the last time, but after high school, after the golf job, while I was away again at a golf school, actually got on a golf team, college golf team. Did a little bit of valet parking. Like 1 or 2 days, they arranged for us to go make a little extra money. I think that might have been while we were waiting on our tournament that summer. So it was like technically after school time. So we actually had time to go to this place and just do some valet parking. Wasn't much, but it's a little something. Pass the time, whilst we waiting on tournament time. That was actually kind of cool. Got to test drive 1 or 2 Lexuses and stuff like that. In the parking lot, of course. What else we did? Went back to the old man's office, and I think for just a few months, then I started working doing sales and delivery at this company selling cleaning products, detergent, like Lysol, like making like homemade Lysol or similar products anyway. Detergent, Lysol, fabric softener, that kind of thing. I did that for close to a year and a half, I think I'd say. Then I went into this company called Seahorse Sailing, which is a snorkeling company, and they do like dinner charters and that kind of thing. So started there before the company actually got on the way up and prep the boat to actually go into business. A little bit of painting and cleaning it and this, that, and the next thing. So started there. I was there like 4 years, from like 99 to like 2002, summer to 99 to like summer 2002. From crew, regular crew, to like mate. And I got my captain's license for like close to the last 2 years or so I was there. And that was an actual fun experience, I'd say. For me, it was like a gym. It was, the money was decent, though it wasn't really, for some reason, seeming to save a whole lot. And that's another story. But it's still a gym. So even if it didn't seem like it to everybody else, maybe all tired and stuff like that, oh, why you always have to do all this, that, and the next thing. I didn't have to, but you working for family and stuff like that, you want to make sure stuff goes right. Sometimes you just got to do some things yourself. So there came a lot of exercise for that. Hoisting the sail, the anchor, pulling up the anchor, carrying the anchor around anyway. And then the usual stuff that goes along with a typical snorkel trip, but there's like food and drinks and stuff like that sometimes being served. So that kind of thing. Swimming twice a day, 2 hours every day for like 4 years. With fins on, so it wasn't all that hard, but someone like me with a big, swimming background, it was just the thing. Full day gym. Did that, like I said, 4 years. And after I stopped there, got into training and stuff like that, saying I'm going to go back and, try and get into some soccer and football. I always wanted to play those. So for 2 years after I left there, I started getting back into shape, hitting the gym. And then after, I think a year into it, I was like, well, I might as well just start offering, personal training sessions, classes and stuff like that, just based on my training experience and knowledge anyway at the time. I wasn't certified or anything, but you didn't have to be, not working for yourself. So I did that up until it was time to head off to school again. It's like 2005. Got injured playing football actually. Right after I got accepted to the school. Anyway, went over there limping and everything to massage school. And actually got a job. The student body president or whatever worked out a job for me part-time, delivering luxury furniture, which was kind of cool. Driving the big box truck or lorry or whatever y'all call them things, delivering luxury furniture. That worked out for maybe about 3 months or so, 3 or 4 months. I didn't realize there was so much money in delivering furniture like that. What people over there might call low-end jobs and stuff like that. It was actually pretty good salary, like $20 an hour or something like that. If I could have done it longer or more, it made pretty decent money. Would probably got myself a couple of things over there, maybe saved up, got a bike, maybe an apartment, But I was living with my aunt anyway, so it wasn't like I needed a place to stay. Just before I was about to come home, I got squared away with a job. I was supposed to start working at an elderly care place. My aunt I was staying with, she was like 87 or something like that when I first got over there. That's kind of old. She by the time I was heading out, she had moved into the elderly care place, and she herself used to be a nurse or like a home care kind of nurse. So whilst I was there, she had this guy stay with her for like a month, quadriplegic dude, and I actually ended up working, helping her out with him for like a month. That was not the coolest job, but hey, sometimes working for family is more about experience than actually what you get financially. But I learned how to deal with quadriplegic people, so that was an experience. Came home after that and officially, I guess, started massage. But no, I went into fitness training again. Got a job at Bally's here before they changed names to Club One. I did that for like just over a year. Got my massage table, and then I started doing all two, massage and fitness. And it's pretty much been that off and on, here and there when I could, up until now. And yeah, there's been one or two things, few things I've added. Everybody in the Bahamas, as far as I'm concerned, most guys know how to push a lawnmower and clip some branches and stuff like that. So I added lawn care service to what I do. Not that I've done it yet, but from doing my aunt's yard for like 4 years while I was over there, I realized, it ain't as boring as it seems. Could be actually kind of fun too. Ain't saying I'm no Edward Scissorhands. That's my cousin. He's the one that does all the fancy tree trimming and all that kind of thing. But that's something I offer now too. Got a security license not too long ago. Worked at a place here called Senior Frogs. It's actually two restaurants, Senior Frogs and Luca Curry. Was there like a security guard for like 1 month. Nothing fancy. Oh yeah, I forgot. I work for a company called Barefoot too, Barefoot Sailing. Doing a similar type of thing as Seahorse, but it's just a much smaller boat. Prepping food and stuff like that. Barbecue sauce, marinating the wings and ribs, that kind of thing. Potato salad. Still hoisting the sail, pulling anchor, that kind of stuff. Typical boat crew, day job. Last thing I did, had a job for about 9 months. Back doing deliveries and stuff again for a water company, Crystal Select. Another gym. Pay could have been better than what it was, but I got to push and pull some stuff around for about 9 months. And since then, I haven't really been doing anything else. But with us all together, looks like on a resume means now I know how to clean and somewhat maintain boats, detail boats. And boats and cars are kind of similar if it comes to, cleaning. Not that I've started the car side yet, but that means I now offer boat cleaning services, security guard service, lawn care service. I still always do my own personal fitness, so that allows me to still comfortably do any type of personal training, really. Personal trainer specialist was my first actual certification at school, so I don't need to carry around a certificate to keep getting it updated all the time. was, thanks God, it was actually ingrained into my actual, degree program, massage and fitness, and then natural health. So my natural health degree allows me to now do aromatherapy, massage, sports massage therapy, neuromuscular therapy. What else? Reflexology, craniosacral massage, a lot of different things, energy work. What else? And then growing up doing the construction thing. I'm not a carpenter. I'm not even going to say that I'm a carpenter. I was a carpenter's apprentice for a little bit. Like I said, working odd jobs here, mainly with my granddad. He was the one who was, the family carpenter like that. So we helping here, this, that, and the next thing, working a little bit with my cousin. He was more of a carpenter than me. He can actually build a house as far as I know. I'm still in the helper section as far as that goes. And when I send out my brochures now, you'll see one for security, lawn care, swimming classes, golf classes. So anything sports related, I can pretty much teach or coach or, train people to do as far as, fitness training or athletic training. The boat cleaning. What else is I missing? Massage still. So pretty much that's my work experience. Schools, bounced around a little bit, not a whole lot, but on this side, I started at Miss Monroe's, that's a preschool. Then Xavier's till like halfway through second grade. Switched over to Lightfoot Key School till 6th grade. Then St. Andrews till 11th grade. Island View Academy from 11 and 12 again. That's over in Maryland. Then St. Leo College, it's now a university. That was like from 94 to like Christmas, like 96. St. Augustine's College after that, 97 spring. Took a bit of a break. Then Oakwood College for spring, 98. Came back home. Said I worked, the jobs and stuff I did then. Went back 2005. That was Florida College of Natural Health, or Steiner College as it used to be known. They've changed names since I've actually left there. At least that particular one. There was a few colleges they had spread out around the US, but that one changed names. So that was 2005. Graduated there. Well, official graduation date was like 2008, like November. But I had an actual associate's graduation, which is the initial program I had actually gone over there to do. Just the basic, massage and sports massage and neuromuscular therapy. That was really an associate's degree. Like I said, at graduation, I guess, I don't know if my parents heard that the school had just started a bachelor's program. They said, you might as well just go ahead and complete your bachelor's degree just to get it out of the way. Since I'd done pretty good as far as grades and stuff. I learned the trick to actually getting the grades you're supposed to get. So they ended up extending my visa and all of that whilst I was over there, so I could go ahead and complete the bachelor's course. Got to learn a little bit about the legal system and stuff like that too. By the time I was done. So now I know how to clean baseball fields and stuff like that. Pick up garbage and trash like that around baseball fields. Track coach. Haven't had any track clients yet. Strange. Now 2026. Shouldn't say waiting on calls, but between waiting on clients, waiting on job interviews, offers, school calls, looking to offer, scholarships and stuff like that so I could actually get into this last program. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say last program, this other program I wanted to do, aviation. Gotta get my wings. While I was in the States the last time, right before I was helped to come home, I happened to ride past this place near Daytona. They were offering flying classes, like, I think it was like $150 for a flying class, or a private pilot class. It was like $150 or something like $1,500. I don't know, I can't remember, but it was real cheap. I was like, wow. I think that might have been one of the last times I actually drove past the place before ICE came knocking. So that's the work experience. Worth mentioning anyway. What else have I done? Little extra odd stuff, even if it's just a day or two. Am I missing anything? Missing anybody? I learned a little bit of masonry, mason work, patching walls and that kind of thing. Browning walls is, you completing a wall to get painted, that kind of stuff. Painting, that's another one that I kind of started dabbling with, from a young age. It wasn't a regular thing, but I got some, basic painting skills. Shingles, roof shingles. I could kind of do that, not that I've done it on my own, but I've helped people do it enough to kind of get the general idea of how it should be done. And I think that's probably the end of my, that's probably all. Not too exciting, but I could do some things. Anyway, crunch out.